Did you ever have any run-ins with the police yourself?
Yeah, I mean, my whole life. My whole life. I was actually attacked by a policeman when I was 10 years old. Me and a few of my friends were playing in a church, and police officer came over and said, "You're not allowed in here." And he picked me up and he dropped me on my head. Me and my pals generally don't like police. That's the way it goes, man. You could kick my front door through and beat me like a dog, and I still ain't gonna ring the police on you.
Liam, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you so much for having me on, George.
No, you're welcome, pal. I had your sister on here, so I thought I might as well see what life was like for you anyway. I know you're an ADHD coach. The best,
UK's number one.
The UK's number one. So before we get into that, let's start at the beginning of your story. Like, where did life start for you?
Where did life start for me? Oh, God. Well, where do we start? I mean, you'll have to sort of, how do I say it, rephrase that. What do you actually mean by that?
Where were you born?
I was born in Harlow, in Essex.
Right. Yeah. Brothers, sisters?
Yes, I've got my sister's sitting over there, you know, and I got two brothers.
Two brothers?
Yeah.
And what was life like for you in growing up in Harlow?
I didn't grow up in Harlow, but I was born there.
What, you moved around?
Yeah,
did you?
yes, I didn't live in Harlow, but that was just a hospital that I was born in. I lived in, it was like Basingstoke, Southampton, up until about the age of 6. Then I moved to Chigwell. I lived in Barker Still for a little while, which is in Essex, and spent most of my life in Chigwell.
What was that so you moved around with the family, you guys?
Yeah, so my older brother, I think he moved out when he was about 18. So me, mainly my mum, sister, and younger brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Chigwell?
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, we had a good life. Not great indoors, I suppose. You know, we didn't really have a dad there and stuff. But yeah, we made the best out of what we had, if you like.
What happened with him? Did he leave from young, or was he never around in the first place?
Dad was never really around, to be honest. He was either in prison or on drugs.
Was he?
Yeah, so quite a bad relationship with my mum, and in turn quite a bad relationship with us.
Well, and what was that like for you growing up?
Oh, I mean, you know, it was tough, you know, not to have a father figure there. Mum did her best, but there's only really so much a woman can do on her own, you know, so...
And
kind of found myself fending for myself quite a lot, and obviously fending for my family too.
Because you said your brother moved out, so were you pretty much the man of the house then?
Yeah, because he was my half brother, so we had different dads. So he moved out at about 18. Just trying to think how young I might have been. I was young, so yeah, I was a man of the house, if you like. Yeah.
So what would you be doing at that age? Like, what were you up to? Was this at school time, or were you...
Yeah, school time, yes. I was a kid, you know. I was a kid.
And then what happened? Did you go into work straight from school?
Oh, so from school, I got chucked out of school, went to another school. I didn't get no GCSEs. And then from there, I did a few college courses that I didn't stick to because I got ADHD. Well, it was undiagnosed back then. So I lived with that my whole life, undiagnosed, and constantly jumped from job to job my whole life. Done loads and loads of college courses. I mean, I did plumbing, bricklaying, electrics, music. I've been a bricklayer, plumber. I've been an estate agent. I've got an NVQ level 1 and 2 in carpentry and joinery, but don't ever ask me to come and fit your door because it'll probably fall off, you know. So I did loads of things. and constantly jumped about from job to job and course to course, and never really settled in a career as such until I got diagnosed with ADHD, which is when I started my fitness company, and the rest is history.
How old were you when you got diagnosed with ADHD?
35.
35?
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
I've got to be honest with you. So, as you know, my little sister Nia went to prison for a significant amount of time. And I used to speak to her on the phone quite a lot. And she told me she got diagnosed with ADHD, and we're pretty similar in some ways. And when she got out, I nicked a bit of her medication without her knowing, and it changed my life.
Did it?
Honestly, yeah, it really, really did.
Well, what did it do for you?
Just allowed me to focus a lot more, get more stuff done, give me a lot of drive, determination, and again, just allowed me to start the business that I'm in now, and life continues to get better. I think without that, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Do you before would you say your head was a bit all over the place? You was quite erratic, let's say.
Yeah, I probably would say that. Yeah, I was, constantly getting into trouble my whole life from a young age, fighting in school at I was like 10, 11. I got suspended from my first school. I was in year 6. I don't know how old that makes you. And yeah, it just continued throughout my teenage years and all the way through my 20s, and got to be honest, all the way up until I really got diagnosed. And
you could never, like, you probably obviously thought there was nothing wrong with you for a period of time as well.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought to myself, I was a little bit mad, if you like. I mean, I used to get really, really worried when I had important tasks and deadlines or exams coming up, because I used to think to myself, no matter how hard I tried and revised for it, I knew it was going to be a real struggle. And I just thought, what the hell is going on? I know that when I was a kid, when I was, again, no, it was younger, so I don't know what year 2 is, but I'm young, I'm like 8 or something, I'm like 6. I got diagnosed with dyslexia in school.
As well.
I never ever took no medication for that. I just kind of dealt with that. I don't even know if there is medication for that, to be fair, but yeah, and I just constantly lacked focus and got extremely worried about an exam that might be coming up, and as hard as I might try to revise for that, when it come down to the day, I'd fail miserably, and I never knew what was quite wrong.
So you said you got suspended from school. Was that on more than one occasion, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, I got suspended from that school when I was like 10, 11 for fighting. I was 10, 11 years old, man. I broke a kid's nose. Looking back at it, it's like 10 years old. And I got suspended. I got let back in. And I believe it was year 6 of school. Then I joined my secondary school. Fight straight away, year 7. Continued up until year 9 when I got kicked out for fighting. Yeah.
Do you and do you think that kind of like that trauma for you started way back when your dad left? Looking back at the years.
Yeah, it was quite a violent and hostile upbringing, so there was loads of that going on. And we used to get a fair share of it ourselves as well. So, I think that played a big part in it.
So what happened? So you left. So you was in year 9, and you said you got suspended again.
Yeah.
Did you? What did you finish school?
No. So I got suspended from the young school for fighting. I went to my secondary school. I got expelled fully, so I got chucked out of there. Then I applied to get in another school. begged and pleaded with them, really. And my mum did a lot of the work on begging and pleading with them. And they let me in. Did I fight in that school? Yeah. But I didn't get chucked out.
Yeah, you didn't. You managed to see it through.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting because for me at school, unless I was really enjoying something, I didn't have no kind of interest towards it. Like I couldn't really focus. I couldn't really concentrate. But mainly it was my teachers that I found hooked me into what I was doing. If I got on really well with the teacher, then I generally did well in that side of thing. Was there anything that you did enjoy at that time, or that you got?
Oh yeah, in school. I mean, I was really, really good at rugby. Really good, actually. And my PE teacher said, if you stick to this, you could be a professional. He said I was really good. I mean, I'm quite a fast runner. But again, I just never followed it through. But yeah, I think other than that, it's really about it.
But it's always been like sports and that side of things that you've always had like warmth to do more of, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, mate, life was a mess. So, you know, thinking back, I couldn't even tell you what I enjoyed. I enjoyed going out with friends. I've got to be honest with you, mate. Like, all I used to do is just go out and get into fights, you know. Been glass bottled, stabbed.
You have?
Yeah, jumped a million times. I used to go out when I was younger. I look back now and I think, how did I go out every weekend? I used to go every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I used to get into a fight every time.
Was this after school, or was this after you'd finished school? Or was
Yeah. This was after. This was like bloody what? Early 20s. But it went all through my 20s, to be fair.
And you said you got stabbed?
Yeah, I got stabbed in the back, yeah.
What did you do to deserve that?
It was a bit of a rout. I don't know if you know, do you remember Time and Envy?
Yeah.
I think it's called Liquid now, right?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so we was all in there in Romford. And argument broke out with a few boys, and I can't really remember a great deal, but I just remember being on the floor, and I know there was loads of them on me, so I was moving about quite a lot because I was mindful of getting stabbed. And it wasn't till I got indoors and took my top off that I saw that I'd been stabbed. Not terribly, twice in the back.
Really?
Up there, yeah. But I think had I not been moving about so much on the floor to avoid it, it would have been a lot worse.
Really?
Yeah.
And you can't remember what.
It was just an altercation, you know. We were young. It was like, what are you looking at? That
seriously,
kind of
and that's what it kicked off into.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, years ago now, but yeah.
Did you ever have any run-ins with the police yourself?
Yeah, I mean, my whole life. I was actually attacked by a policeman when I was 10 years old.
You was attacked?
Yeah, for absolutely nothing. Me and a few of my friends were playing in a church. I was only 10 years old. And a police officer came over and said, you're not allowed in. And he picked me up and he dropped me on my head. You know, for absolutely nothing. I didn't answer him back. He just picked me up and dropped me on my head. So with that, you know, I've always sort of had a terrible relationship with the police, and I think that really started it off for me.
Did it? How so?
Just gave me a bad, how do I say it? Bad image of them, if you like, you know. Bad perception of the police. And it continued throughout my teenage years.
Did it?
Yeah.
What would life be like for you in those situations? You'd obviously had that bad experience, and do you think because of the way you were as well that there was just fighting each other all the time with the police?
I wouldn't say I was so much fighting them, but you know, from that experience alone at 10 years old, I think it really gave me a bad impression of them, and I can't say that I particularly like them. I don't want to sit there and judge everyone because, funnily enough, my first online client in my business was a police officer. So, of course, they're not all bad, but, you know, I got a few violence towards the police on my record, and I think they see that, and they just put you in a category.
Stereotype.
And I almost feel like even now they follow me just to wind me up, and they don't stop me. You know, they stay behind me for ages. And I think, come on, just hurry up. There's been times when I've pulled over and gone like, you think you're going to pull me up or what? And they've just carried on driving, you know? And that's happened a few times. Yeah.
And what, you had quite a few things on your records, did you say?
Yeah, I've been arrested, I've got to be honest, mate. I've been arrested more times than I can remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I've not been charged a great deal, but I've been in Crown Court a few times, but not got found guilty, and also been arrested more times than I can think of, to be fair. But yeah, that's all over now. But I think, you know, even though that life's over, I still get worried about when they're behind me.
Yeah, you still feel like you get in a bit of trouble.
Still feel on edge. Even though I'm doing nothing wrong, still feel that little bit edgy.
And do you think that that's like your kind of like old mindset, that because you did used to get up to trouble, that paranoia might be linked to what you was like as a kid as opposed to who you are today?
Maybe. Perhaps, yeah, because obviously I was always looking out for them. I was always mindful of the fact that they could be behind me. And I think that's kind of instilled in my brain, if you like. Not that, you know, I'm going to be like that forever, but yeah, I almost get, I get anxious around, but I know police don't like me. You know?
You're convinced? Even now, after all these years?
Well, my first online client was a policeman, right? But I've also joined a lot of business network meetings. And I was actually an ex-policeman there, and I trained his son. Really good guy. And looking at him, you wouldn't think he was a police officer. I was blown away when I found out he was ex-Al Bill. But yeah, they're not all bad. Of course they're not. And I'm not saying that they are, but I'm just saying that I've had a very, very bad experience with them. And I just hope that I don't have any more bad experiences with them ever again.
But it sounds like a lot like you've changed a hell of a lot. I mean, we'll go into it, of course, but you've changed a lot from who you were then to who you are today. So
yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah. So generally, it doesn't feel like you should have anything to worry about.
No, not at all.
You know?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But, you know, I'm not doing nothing wrong. But look, listen, how do I say it? You know, like, me and my pals generally don't like police. That's the way it goes, man.
Even today?
Ain't no one going to talk to the police. No one's going to grass no one up. You know, you could kick my front door through, tie my mum up and beat me like a dog, and I still ain't going to ring the police on you. You know? I'm just not going to do it. That's kind of going against what I know. So I would never ever ring the police unless I saw like something terrible, like, you know, a paedophile or some nonsense, or then, you know, it's different. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I suppose it's what's instilled in my brain. I know it's unhealthy in a way, but
I think the problem that you've got for a lot of people is that there's a moment in time when you have an experience of something and it's almost a bit like traumatic. And obviously for you as a kid, that was probably a bit of a traumatic experience. And it's very easy then to tarnish everyone with the same brush.
Yeah.
But it's like, what then you've got on and you've ended up training police officers and you've seen a completely different contrast. So.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, look, I'll come back to it. They're not all bad, of course they're not. But I've had a bad experience with a great deal of them. But then I do think about that, and I think back to the guy whose son I trained, and this guy's a blinder. He's an absolute blinder, this geezer. And looking at him, you wouldn't think he was Al Bill. Do you know what I mean? You just wouldn't. And And he's a really, really good, down-to-earth guy. He's ex-Old Bill. He's ex-Old Bill for a reason. But I won't go into why he's ex-Old Bill. But yeah, they're not, of course they're not all bad. But, you know, at the same time, I think, you know, because I've had that bad experience with them and I might have that violence towards police on my record, they automatically tarnish me under a certain umbrella or whatever you want to brush, and so they treat me like garbage. So, you know, it's hard to gain back that trust off them.
And how much do you think it was them, and how much do you ever think it was you? And what you were like?
Like, you know, it obviously started with me, didn't it? I mean, well, it didn't start with me when I was a kid, because it generally did happen for absolutely nothing.
Right.
And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
You're 10 years old.
I'm a 10-year-old boy. You know, what was I really doing? I wasn't doing anything. So I think that's what started it. But of course, growing up, it wasn't their fault. You know, of course it wasn't. But yeah.
You just had a tough upbringing, and it's quite funny because I've spoke to a few people now, and it's quite interesting how for a lot of us that trauma earlier on, some sort of trauma that somebody's had, ripple effects all through their life, and they kind of go off the path a bit.
Yeah.
The good thing I like about a lot of people is they find, you know, they do find their path. Some people are still looking for it as well, you know.
Yeah.
But I can see easily, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to a guy who was a heroin addict who was abused by his uncle at 9 years old. You know, he said it on the podcast. And you could just see how the sequence of events, not that it's like there's a justification for then, you know, I think even Nia said it before, hurt people. You know, that's generally, you know, what you find. But I think in the end, you've got a responsibility to yourself to also heal yourself and move on from that.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I don't want to be looked at as a guy that's, how do I say it? You know, petty, small-minded, they're all the same. I don't think like that at all. You know, all I'm saying is I've not really had a great experience with them. And, you know, it's hard to sort of gain that, trust them, you know. But again, I'm not a bad person.
No.
Made a few wrong choices, you know. That's all it is.
Well, none of us are perfect. I think we've all got skeletons in the closet.
Exactly, man.
If someone wanted to see them. So you left school at this point. I know you kind of touched over them quite briefly, but so you went into like trades. You were just trying to figure yourself out along that part.
Yeah. I mean, I've done all sorts of jobs. Like I said, I did plumbing, electrics, music, bricklaying. I was a doorman, security, estate agent.
Wow.
The lot.
Well, yeah, really. And
I was good at, when I was an estate agent, I was breaking records. Really good at that.
Good at sales.
Good at sales. So I was an estate agent for just over a year in Goodmays. My mate had the franchise of the business. And as someone that had no previous sales experience, I come in and I broke the record for the most amount of lets in a calendar month. And the business had been going for 22 years. He couldn't believe it. He's blown away. He couldn't believe it. Left, right and centre, mate, putting the phone down, smashing the sales. And I broke the records. And then after work, I was going to Barking College twice a week, training to become a carpenter.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
As well.
And all I was doing was going there and falling asleep because I was knackered from work, you know what I mean? So I passed it with a lot of help from the tutor, but again, don't ask me to hang your door.
I think I just about passed as well, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. When I was in college, I started hanging around probably the wrong type of people at that time. And then, so instead of like learning and educating myself, I started like this. I think this is when I started getting into drugs and stuff like that. So come the end of it, I needed a lot of help on the course. Otherwise, I would have failed after 3 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, I definitely understand what it's like. I mean, I think I just always struggled to concentrate with certain things.
That was the same.
I was probably more hands-on than I was, and interacting with people as well. You know, that's why when I said to you, I think I've got ADHD as well. There's so many like dots along the journey that you kind of see. You're like, it kind of adds up.
Yeah.
So and like when it came to the sales, I'm assuming like you used to really enjoy that because it was.
Oh yeah, I loved it, man. Like it was a bit of a hands-on job. You know, you had your little bit of admin to do on the computer, booking, viewings. But other than that, you're out there meeting people, talking to people, driving about on the roads, showing people around gaffs. I enjoyed it. I was really good at it. But yeah, he wasn't doing so well in that business in the end, so I actually had to leave.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of what happened with that. But I was bloody good at that job, mate, I tell you.
So you were moving around. What was that one job that really stood out to you that you ended up really enjoying?
One job that I really, really, really enjoyed. Whoa. Let's have a think about that one. Probably, it's got to be honest with y'all. It's probably the last one before I started on my own. So, I was arrested in 2021.
What for?
Assault on a police officer and possession with intent to supply cocaine, which I'm not proud of, but I did get arrested for that. And with that, I was looking at a significant amount of time in prison, and I got found guilty for it. So that's when I really needed to get a job. So before that, I'd already done my fitness course. So I had that certification, but because I got ADHD, I just put it in the library and didn't use it. So I had that for a good, 6 months? Didn't use it. And don't even ask me how I passed that. I mean, I got loads of extra help with that. I was the last one to pass out of them all. But I got my fitness qualification. So I got the qualification, got arrested, and I thought, what the hell on earth am I going to do? Started looking around for jobs. No one would take me because they was all DBS checking me.
Right.
So I really struggled to get a job, and I finally landed a job. Really, really good job. In Virgin Active in Angel. And I thought, yes, good money. I was really looking forward to starting. So I think there was about 12 of us on the interview. And I got given a job. They rung me and said, you got a job? I thought, wow, I thought there was no way I was getting this job. So I've got the job. I'm buzzing. Right, I'm buzzing, yeah? So with that, they give us a date to come back in. I just waiting for my DBS to go through. Now, I knew it weren't great, but I thought they'd done it, right? So I rung them up. I said, is everything okay? They went, yeah. Everything's fine. Because a girl that used to work there, DBS checked me, but she didn't tell them about what was on my record.
Right, okay.
So they gave her the sack, didn't tell me anything, and just absolutely ignored me. So the date they gave me initially to go back in, I thought, fuck this, I'm going in. Going to see what's going on. Oh, they're not in at the moment. Someone will ring you. To this day, I've still not heard a thing.
That's typical.
And I even messaged the bird that left because they had her phone number, and I still got her to this day on WhatsApp. And she completely ignored me. So with that, crazy, man. With that, my sister got out of prison. I nicked a bit of medication and it changed my life. So I was building my business on the side, but it wasn't paying me enough money, so I had to get myself a job. So I got a job with a really good friend of mine at the time, selling high-ticket steel in a steel factory in Raynham, Essex. He's a really good mate of mine, actually. He lived up the road from me, and I knew him for a few years previous to this. And he went, "Do you want to give this shot telesales, yeah?" I knew I'd be good at this job. By then, I got the medication running through my veins, mate. I'm on fire. I'm breaking records time and time again, putting the phone down, blowing my mate away, blowing everyone else away in the office. They can't believe it. Someone that's got no real telesales experience has come in and he's nicking sales left, right and centre. All I'm doing is following up their old database and I'm closing deals, high ticket deals, 50, 100 grand deals. Boss, putting the phone down. He had a heart attack and died, man.
Your friend?
My boss, he had a heart attack and died. So with that, he left me unemployed again, devastated too. And that's when I started my company, and it's been a full-time job ever since, mate, and the rest is history.
I just want to roll it back because I'm quite interested by it. But you said you had this court case that you got convicted of, but you weren't found guilty.
Right? Oh yeah, I didn't get to that. Do you want me to talk to you about that?
Yeah. Like, what happened there?
So anyway, went to court. I'll tell you what happened. So, police were behind me. I'm not gonna, I know I can get away with it, so I'm gonna. What happened was the police were behind me, so I see him in my mirror, and I got out my car, and I put my hands up, and I said, "What's wrong, officer?" And I run. And they weren't catching me for nothing. But there was a policeman waiting for me round the corner, and he rugby tackled me. So with that, the rest of them come running along, and I didn't resist the rest at all. And they just beat the absolute shit out of me with the coshes. They had the back of the cosh, not the front, at the back of it. I'm talking a good 4 or 5 of them, like that, on the back of my head, mate. Bang, bang, bang. So, I was nicked. I went to the police station, same old story, got out, waiting for a court date, went to court. So, went to court, and I said to the barrister on the phone previously, "Shall I pack a bag?" And he said, "No, you ain't got to pack a bag. You're not going nowhere. If you're going somewhere, it won't be today." So I've got there, and he's gone, "I'm so sorry. It could be today." I've gone, "What? I've got nothing. I've got no toothbrush. I've got no clothes. You're having a laugh, ain't you, mate?" He went, "I'm so sorry. Mum's there, brother's there. Sister's in jail, obviously, at the time. Heartbroken, devastated. I had to visit my sister in prison."
What was that like for you?
And tell her that I could be going jail. She cried my eyes out, man. Cried my eyes out. Just the thought of leaving my mum on her own, and I just told my sister, "Look, when you do get out, just make sure you look after her." I thought I was gone. So it was a really, really hard time, but just getting back to the court case, when I got there, he said, "No, you could be going today." So I went in and they did whatever they were doing before I come in and we do the trial and that. And he come out and he goes to me, "I've never quite heard of anything like this in my whole life. Someone must be looking down on you." And he said, they've said that if you go guilty for assaulting a police officer, which I didn't do, I didn't lay a finger on them, they'll drop the possession with intent to supply to possession. And I had to take her with both hands. Even though I didn't want to go guilty for assaulting a police officer, I knew that I'd be going to jail straight away if I got sentenced for that. So I took that with both hands, even though I did not lay a finger on them or resist arrest. But I think it was around that time, you know, when all that George Floyd stuff was happening. Yeah? So there's a lot of that in the paper and on the news. And I think they knew that I was pressing charges on them. They had body cam footage of them beating the absolute shit out of me. I didn't resist arrest one bit. And I think they knew that they would have been in quite a bit of trouble, if you like, because you could clearly see that I didn't resist. So yeah, again, he was like, I can't believe this. I've never heard of anything like this. They said, well, I just told her that, you know, if I go guilty for assaulting Al Bill, they'll drop possession with intent to supply to possession. So again, you know, I didn't want to do it, but I didn't want to go jail either. So I took it with that. I got community service, fine, tag, probation, everything but jail. And yeah, that's that.
And your sister was in prison at this point, and
yeah,
I can clearly see how you needed to make a decision, not just for yourself, but for your mum as well.
Yeah, my sister had been locked up for years and years on end, and you know, she was going to get out and I was going to go in. That's how it was looking. I thought, fuck it, you're having a laugh, ain't you? And of course, I'm the man of the house, mate. I'm looking after everyone, if you like. At least trying to. And yeah, it didn't happen anyway.
Yeah.
Thank God. I got through my community service, which was hell.
Was it bad?
Oh yeah, mate, it was terrible.
Why?
I just painting benches and all that shit, man. It's like better than jail, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
dealt with that.
How did you deal with it when your sister went to prison?
Devastated, mate. Ripped apart inside. Yeah, hard time.
Was
really
it?
hard, yeah. It was terrible.
So you've had this incident with the police. You've been given like another lifeline, let's say.
100%.
Was that a turning point for you?
Yeah. And then, like I said, after that, after I got arrested, I had to get a job, I told you. I finally landed a job, the Virgin Active. They messed me about. Thought, fuck me, what am I going to do? So then I was online applying for jobs left, right and centre. But the only one that wouldn't DBS check me was a Pilates studio. So it was in fitness, but nothing like what I do. I'm fast paced, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But again, I had to take that job with both hands because they were the only ones that wouldn't DBS check me. So I took that job, and this was before I got diagnosed with ADHD, and because I couldn't learn it quick enough, they actually let me go. I was fucking devastated, man. I thought, what the fuck? I'm giving it my best shot. And they still won't give me the chance. And then sis got out of jail, nicked a bit of her medication, went back in the new year. This is what they said. So they said to me that, I'm so sorry, your work ethic is second to none, but you're just not learning it quick enough. We've got to let you go. I begged and pleaded with this guy like a little kid to keep me on. Just before Christmas this was. No money all over Christmas. Felt embarrassed, ashamed. Didn't know what the hell I was going to do. So, you know, we was learning on the job to become a Pilates instructor, right? But they are paying us. And I was surrounded by absolute idiots. Like, they're from a completely different life to me. Some just absolute lemons, do you know what I mean? That I wouldn't mix with normally, just like farmers, you know. But obviously, you know, it was a job.
100%.
So I begged and pleaded with this guy. He rang me up and he said, I'm so sorry, we got to let you go. And I went, please, just give me one last shot in the new year. I know I can do this. He said, fine, but we can't pay you. So everyone else got paid, but I didn't. So I broke, mate, all over Christmas. But then my sister got out of jail. I nicked a bit of her medication, and I was going back, and I was fucking... The teacher was looking at me like, what the fuck, is this kid's all right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was mental, because I was like, what? I was looking him dead in the face, and everything was going right for me. You know, I was taking everything in. And this kid was looking at me like, thinking, mate, this ain't the same geezer, man. Like, this ain't the same geezer. I thought I was doing really well, but I think by then I'd already made their mind up, and I did get into a bit of an altercation with a few kids in there,
What's an altercation?
It wasn't really an altercation, like, because they were like these farmers, these well-spoken idiots, if you like. I think, you know, I spoke a little bit differently, and I can't remember what it was. I think I wasn't learning something. And I think one of them laughed and sniggered, and I was like, what are you, like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to, you little mug? Like,
And
you know, to both of them, I was like, what? Bruv, are you mad? But these are, look younger than me, mate. They're young.
But they just look...
But I'm like, hang on, cunt, who are you talking to? With that, the teacher saw the little bit of animosity, and I think they might have had a conversation between themselves and... probably just thought I wasn't a good fit. So although I was dragging it back at the end with the medication, again, I think they'd already made their mind up and they let me go, and there I was, unemployed again. But I had the medication running through my veins, right? So I jumped into my mate's business, broke records time and time again on the phone, selling our tickets still. And then the bloody geezer died, man. My really good friend, so he died, and there I was, man, unemployed again, and didn't know what I was going to do. And that's when I had a little bit of time on my hands, and I'm thinking, what shall I do? So I was racking my brains on what my next move should be. And that's when I registered Too Tough Health and Fitness as a limited company, and the rest is history, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started that business, and what was it like? Was compared to like your old jobs?
Oh, mate, listen, look, you know, I could do what I want when I want with who I want, but it weren't easy. It was tough, you know, like growing it.
How did you grow it?
Oh, mate, it's just like, it was so tough. It was so tough to build it. You know, I was getting clients from all different websites and word of mouths, and it was relentless cold reach out. But eventually I built it up to a level where I didn't have to worry about money. I had to worry about money.
Just not as much.
I'm not rich.
Yeah.
But I got a full-time job. Except I'm the boss, yeah? So I'd cemented that. And that is when I thought to myself, you know what, I'm never, ever going back and working for someone else ever again. And of course now, I'm the UK's #1 high-performance ADHD health and fitness coach, and deliver fitness solutions specifically designed for individuals with ADHD, which allow them to get into the shape of their life, not only physically, but mentally too. I think, had I not lived through that nightmare, I certainly wouldn't be qualified to help those that are living it right now. So thank God I didn't stay in that job that fired me, because I'd be dead inside right now, you know. They're all idiots. But, you know, God works in mysterious ways, and I believe that God didn't give you another day because you needed one. He gave you another day because people need you.
That's a good way of putting it. So you've spoken about the medication. Did you actually get diagnosed with ADHD? How did that come about?
this is mental, right? And you're not going to believe it, and not many people can, to be fair. But because I'd nicked that bit of medication off my sister without her knowing, I kicked up so much of a fuss, and I was like, mate, you're giving me this medication. I was like, no. I was relentless with the phone calls, the emails, to make sure that I get this. Because I knew what this was doing for my life. So I handed the doctor down, left, right and centre. So I've not actually been officially diagnosed with it. I'm getting diagnosed on the 22nd of April. But because I kicked up so much of a fuss, I've had a few meetings with them on Zoom, but not officially diagnosed because it's got to be the psychiatrist that does it. The doctor goes out his way to prescribe it to me without them knowing, and he tries to hide it from them too. He asked me to say, don't tell them. Mental, innit? I had a conversation with the director of ADHD UK the other day, and I told him the story, and he thought, you fucking what? He couldn't believe it. He was blown away, like, what? Mad, right? But that is what happened. But again, I haven't been officially diagnosed as such, but I'm getting officially diagnosed on April the 22nd. I was meant to get officially diagnosed on the 6th of March, just gone, but they cancelled it because where I'm on the border of Essex and East London, they put me under the Essex bracket, but my doctor's is in East London. So some sort of confusion went on, and the Essex people can't do it because I'm based in East London.
Right.
So that's why it's been dragged over now to the 22nd of April. But that is when I get officially diagnosed with it. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. But all the specialists as such have said, no, we can clearly see you got it. And all the paperwork that they've gave me has ticked all the right boxes, but it's not been officially done. So it's getting officially done on the 22nd of April.
So it's got to be done by a psychiatrist for you to be...
Yeah, no, a doctor can't prescribe it.
Right.
But it's only because I went mad, like, because they started it and they tried to stop the medication again. And I was like, you fucking what? You ain't stopping that. It's changed my life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, because I was so firm with it, they're like, all right. It's like, you can't fucking ruin my life. What do you want me to do? Go backwards? I ain't going backwards. So because I was so relentless with it, I still get it to this day, although I'm not officially diagnosed, but I do get the lowest dose.
Oh, is it? Is that what
which is
current? But it's still working wonders for you.
Yeah, well, I make sure I stock up, mate. So I got it. So I got backup, so you can get it every 2 weeks. I always make sure that it's backed up, because I know what life's like without it. You know what I mean? And do I want to take it forever? No. Of course I don't. But I honestly feel like I'm definitely behind in life due to it, in all aspects of my life,
You're behind?
Yeah, behind in all that. I'd say not, 100 million%.
Why do you feel
all
like
aspects of my life, I haven't got a lot of even my younger brother's got kid family, like I ain't got that. All my mates, my age, mate, you having a laugh, all of them have got kids, family, wives. So...
do you think it's a problem not to have
I don't, no, not at all. I'm fucking perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy, and I don't want that. I don't even want that. I'm just saying, I feel like the ADHD delayed me in that, as well as my professional life. Is it that in loads and loads of ways in my life? It really, really did. I mean, I'm going even back to the box. I'm a completely different fighter now. Do you know what I mean? I can concentrate so much more. It's crazy. I think I've had that medication when I was fighting regularly, I would have been cleaning up, mate. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think I naturally just fell behind because I couldn't focus. But now I can. But I don't plan on taking that forever because it is a stimulant. It is drugs. I don't even take a paracetamol if I've got a headache. I'm totally against medication, you know. I'm a fitness coach, man. I don't like meds. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't like medication, but they've been a game changer. And again, I know what life's like without them. But as soon as I'm in a place where, you know, I've built that successful career, maybe I haven't got to think or concentrate as much, then I'll think about knocking them on the edge, you know what I mean? But right now, I've really got to focus and try and build and carve out a successful career.
It's funny though how, even though you're taking this medication and it's working wonders for your life, there's still that stigma attached to medication. And, you know, the sheer fact that your life is actually going in the right direction kind of says to me that you taking the medication is exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah, I get it.
And you should have no desire, if I'm honest with you, to want to come off, because that could be your version of going backwards anyway.
Yeah, I get that. I mean,
it's just the stigma of medicine. I think that's the problem, especially from pharmaceutical companies, because I think there's the issue that, you know, are we just being fed things for, you know, what's it? We don't even, yeah, for the sake of it. What's even in these things?
Yeah. Well, they are drugs, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, mate, I mean, I spoke to a kid at my fitness class the other day, and this kid's 16. He said that he was taking Ritalin from 5, and he said that it's fucking absolutely obliterated his mindset. So he stopped taking it. He's 16 now. He said he fell behind, mate. So thank God I didn't take it from a young age. I mean, if I had a kid, for instance, and the kid had ADHD, of course you wouldn't get the kid on meds. You know, he's a kid. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that my mum would have put me on meds at a young age either, and I totally disagree with getting a kid on meds. Listen, if it's life-changing, yeah, you know, if he's ill, fine, but, you know, I don't know. I just feel like, you know, I don't want to take tablets, man, for the rest of my life. When I'm in a position where I can sit back and something's built and, you know, I'm looking and, you know, financially stable and, you know, I've got a really, really good career path going and, you know, I can hire a team, get them to do the things that I'm not so great at, then, yeah, I might think about coming off it. But for the minute, mate, I'm going to take that every single day because I've got to focus every single day when I'm building, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, yeah, I understand that. Let's talk about the boxing. How long you been boxing for?
So been boxing now for about 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
Have you?
So I got into that pretty late, to be fair. I got into that at 23. I mean, obviously I didn't have a dad there. And my mum hated fighting.
It was a good way to channel it though, ain't it?
Yeah. So I was never really pushed into it. I wish I was, because I love boxing. But yeah, I mean, I knew when I got into boxing I'd never be a world champion. Of course, I got into boxing at 23. But I think it really helped me shape me into the person I am today. I mean, again, back at 23, I was arrested and looking at a significant amount of time in jail. And I needed something to get me off the street, and that's when I started boxing. And yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't religiously live and breathe it, but I started it to initially get me off the street as a hobby, if you like. And yeah, I mean, you know, I was never going to be world champion, but I had, 18 unlicensed fights. I boxed at started at Repton Boys in Bethnal Green, started boxing there for about 3.5 years. And I think it gave me something to focus on, get me off the street and just get me fit and healthy, and again, just help battle that ADHD that I didn't know I had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Channel that energy.
Yeah, I, to be honest, I do know what you mean, and I've known quite a few people that have had ADHD get into boxing. I don't know if it's like something that helps with their brain, keep them in sync, or what it is. But I think just exercise in general has been a good one for me over the years.
Yeah.
If I have, or if I feel like I've got ADHD, it's definitely been a good one over the years to kind of keep me.
It's the best thing for it, man. Listen, if you've got ADHD and you don't engage in some sort of physical activity, what are you even doing? And I look at parents as well when I say that. If they've got a kid and they're not getting it, what are they doing? Do you know what I'm saying? Because it can change your whole mindset. I mean, I heard this the other day. I can't remember who was saying it now, but, you know, I don't know one person that didn't change their life, their whole life, through getting into health and fitness. You know, I'm not saying it's going to solve everything, all your problems, but if something negative happens or someone says something bad to you, you're definitely going to respond to it in a different way if you've done a bit of training that day. Yeah, whereas if you're out of sync with your health and fitness, there's a good chance you're going to react a little bit differently. I know I would.
Yeah, well, it feels like if you get the body right, it helps with getting the mind
The
right.
mind, man, 100%. 100%.
So, and you mentioned parents with their kids. I think I've seen. So you work with kids as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
So what's that? Is that kids specifically with ADHD?
No, so I've got a fitness class that I do every single Thursday. That's just for the local kids, really, in the area. That's been a real battle to build that, actually. That's been real tough. There's been times where I've shown up and no one's come. But we're getting there with that. And even though I'm not getting paid a great deal of money, I think just from the bond that I've built with the kids there, I couldn't walk away from it. You know, just to see their joy and their fact they enjoy it so much. And, you know, it's real tough because the numbers are always up and down. You got to pay for the room, and, you know, I earn more doing my one-to-one hourly rates than I've ever earned in that class. And it's late at night, and I thought about walking away from it many a time, but I think it's just the kids, because they love it, that I couldn't walk away from that one. So we'll carry on with that. It's been a real battle to build that, but I think it'll get busier in time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine it's quite fulfilling, like, with the kids. And is that in your local borough?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so you essentially now drive to people's houses.
Yeah, so that's what I do on a day-to-day business. I've got my own mobile personal training company based in Chigwell that visits you wherever that may be, whether it be a home address or garden, public space or park, workplace, or even your local gym. We come with all the equipment on board. So that's what I do to pay my bills, if you like. And I love what I do, and I do what I love, but my life's work is serving the individuals with ADHD, because I honestly feel like they're the people that I was born to serve. And honestly, again, I think had I not lived through that nightmare, I wouldn't be qualified to help those that live in it right now. And this is why I'm so passionate about neurodiversity in the workplace. As you've just heard my story, I've been knocked down by employers my whole life. So this is why I'm advocating for that heavily. I'm really passionate about that. And I want to get that message heard by as many people as I can.
And one thing I've seen on your social media page is you talk about neurodiversity. What's, like, for anyone that don't know, what is neurodiversity?
So neurodiversity is a neuro condition, so it could be dyslexia, ADHD, autism. But of course, you know, and other neurodiverse conditions, of course. I might have forgot a few.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, like, ADHD is a thing that affected me. So I'm really passionate about that, because, of course, the story I've just told you is all about ADHD, workplace environments. They let me go, mate. You're having a laugh. All because I couldn't learn it quick enough. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's loads of key takeaways in my talk that I can give that organisations can implement straight away which in turn will save them time, money, resources, valuable talent.
What's examples of things that they can implement?
Key takeaways. Do you want me to give you a few?
Yeah, why not?
So there's loads, you know. I mean, there's loads. I mean, one for me that would have been great for me would have been just to be given that extra little bit of time right at the beginning of a new task. Just so I can grasp the concept of it that little bit more. Because, you know, after I have studied something for a little while, it's different now, I've got medication, but I'd be fucking flying in that job right now. But they didn't give me a chance at the beginning. Do you know what I'm saying? So give me a chance right at the death just to learn the concept of it. I might need a little bit longer than others, but if you give me that little bit of time, I'm going to be flying. Do you know what I mean? So that for me is a really big one. There's loads of rating how you feel at work with certain tasks. You can use AI for that. You know, you can assign certain tasks to certain people. So you don't assign a task that an ADHD isn't comfortable with. Let them rate how they feel, and you'll be able to assign it to the right person. Loads of walk-in I heard of walk-in meetings. I don't know how I feel about walk-in meeting. I've never done one in my life, but someone said that they help.
Really?
You know what I mean? A walk-in meeting. You know, if that... I mean, I can't sit still for too long.
Yeah.
I've never done a walk-in meeting, but if that helps, that helps. Do you know what I mean? Fidget balls, whatever it is, let people record a meeting rather than take notes. You know, have a follow-up meeting. Things like that. There's loads and loads of things that organisations can implement, but they're not doing it, you know? They're not doing it, and I think people are really struggling to land a job, and this is why a massive, massive percentage of people with ADHD and other neurodiverse conditions are unemployed. Or they're thriving, and they've got their own business. So it's one or the other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a real battle. So I think getting people in to talk about it just raises that little bit of awareness, because, you know, if an organisation or leader understands neurodiversity, I think that makes everyone's life easier across the board, because they're more open to potential hurdles and problems from their neurodiverse employees.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes everyone's life easier.
Because it's quite interesting for a lot of employees who might have neuro issues, and then they get sacked. Most of the time they think it's because they failed in something.
Yeah.
But there is a high chance that the employment could have easily have failed them just as much.
Yeah, well, I'm just coming back to that job. Do you remember the Pilates one I got sacked from and all that? Now, when I had the first meeting with them on Zoom, they were going to me, "You're a fast learner." Of course I'm going to tell them I'm a fast learner. I knew I wasn't. I'm not going to tell them that. I might never get the job. I didn't know I had ADHD at that point. But if I did, there's a good chance I won't be putting it down on that bit of paper, because they'll look at that and they'll go, "You're all right, mate." And they won't even give you the chance. I think people were reluctant to put it down anyway. And I think over time, if they do land that job, because they might have built up a better relationship with their leader or boss, there's a good chance that they might have told them down the line. You know, I think it's really important that people know what people with neurodiversity bring to the table, because if they don't, what's the point?
The other issue you got is some people don't even know they've got these issues as well,
That's it.
ADHD or anything
Exactly,
like
man.
that. So it's a bit of a tough one, because nobody really thinks they've got a problem until it starts really affecting
Exactly.
them.
Well, I wouldn't have known unless my sister went jail. And obviously she wouldn't have known either.
So what happened? She got diagnosed with it.
She got that. So my sister got diagnosed with it in jail. I think she was 28 when she got diagnosed. Was 28, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was 28. And yeah, man, like, I was like, yeah. she was telling me how it's helped her. How much more she gets done, how much more focused and driven she is, and I thought, fuck me, I need some of that. So I nicked a bit off her. And that's when life kind of got better, do you know what I mean?
And do you think there's a lack of awareness for people with ADHD, whether they know they've even got it or not?
100%, mate, because if she didn't go to jail, she'd still be living with it, and so would I, 100%, undiagnosed. There's no way on earth that I would have known it, and I'm sure she would have never have found out had she not gone to prison. Actually, I'm adamant she wouldn't have.
So how do you? So you work with. You said to me earlier that you one of your clients is autistic. Do you deal with lots of clients that generally have neuro issues?
Yeah. So I've got loads. That's a really, really good success story of mine. Actually, that's a kid that wouldn't even come out of his room. Sorry, this kid. I mean, he doesn't go out with family on days out. Doesn't even come out of his room. This kid. I started training his little brother with ADHD, and it took about good 3-4 months for him to come down and actually meet me, because people with autism don't like meeting new people.
Right.
So yeah, with that, he finally plucked up the courage to come down and meet me. And ever since, he trains me every single Friday. He gets excited every time to come down and train with me. His parents said it's changed his life. He's now going into school. He goes out occasionally, not all the time, with the family to the zoo and things like that. It's really helped him with his school, as I said, and it's just, it's helping him in every aspect of his life. And I think for me, to date, that's got to be the best success story I've got.
Yeah, well done, man.
Yeah, it's a really good one, that one.
Yeah, not only are you trying to transform your own life, but you're transforming other people's in the process.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, you must be getting a lot of fulfillment from that, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's not round the corner from where I live. It's a good drive to get there. But honestly, I think even if I was a millionaire, I really struggled to walk away from that one.
Yeah, well, it shows this type of person that you are, to be fair. And
thank you, bro.
And what about? Did you say you were doing like public speaking as well, or you wanted to get into that?
Yeah, so obviously that's what I was just talking about a minute ago. Neurodiversity in the workplace, because I've been knocked down by employers my whole life. Yeah. So I think the story, the message is powerful. But the story is a wrapping. It's a relevance of what's inside. The relevance is what's inside. The takeaways that the organisations can implement. And again, I'll come back to it. They don't care about nothing but making money or saving it. And I've got key takeaways that will help them save money or make it.
Keep spreading awareness.
Yeah.
Keep reminding people.
That's it, exactly. And there might be someone out there right now that is in the exact same position as I was back then. And if I can change that person's life, he or she, whoever it might be, even if that's one person, that's a win for me. Because I know I felt at that time, it was hell. It was a bad time in my life. I felt embarrassed. I had no money. I feel like I'd let my whole family down. And it was real tough. So, yeah, I mean, if I could spread awareness and help anyone, whoever it is, even if it's one person, that's a win-win for me.
The thing is, you're still young as well, and the sheer fact that you've got that purpose to actually focus on, that's good enough for you to have that point of direction, to know where you're going.
Yeah.
So like, you sound like you're a lot further down the line than a lot of other people that I've met along the journey. When you mentioned earlier you know, about not always being as far as you like to be. Maybe you're more further down the line than you think.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. Life's a battle, but if you fall over, you're not going to stay on the floor, are you? You're going to get up and keep going. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I mean, you know, it's not easy. Of course it's not, but it's not easy for anyone out there. But that is my real life's purpose. And, you know, again, had I not lived that journey, I wouldn't be qualified to help those that are living it right now. And I'm fucking help anyone. Just one person. Just help change the workplace culture. Just that little bit. Give them a little bit of time at the beginning of a new task. Simple things. That'd be a game changer. Do you know what I mean? And just make them feel comfortable. Make them excited to come to work. You know, because if they're scared in a meeting, they're not going to have quick answers. So, you know, you've got to make these people feel at home in the workplace. Not push them out like me, put them in with a bunch of fucking idiots, right? Bunch of farmers from a completely different world. They didn't even speak my language. And learn at a completely different pace to me. We're still in that dead-end job right now. Wrapped round a bunch of, I won't say it, but
Don't you?
They're living that the same life that they were living 2 years ago. So good luck to them.
Don't you think this is why it's important to be in the right environment, where in whatever that is for yourself or even for other people? Because see, you can either thrive or you can feel suppressed.
100%. I mean, I know I'm taking a piss out of them saying they're all farmers and that. I wouldn't have cared because I needed a job so badly. So I would have dealt with that. It's not an issue. But because they didn't learn at their pace, they let me go anyway. Did I want to be there? No. Did I enjoy it? Not at all. It was shit, mate. You know, it's Pilates. I mean, great workout. But, you know, it weren't really what I wanted to do. But again, I had to take it because, you know, no one else was taking me on.
Sounds like a necessary part of the journey, you know? Like,
yeah, but I think it was all still a learning curve. As I said, they let me go, and then that's when I landed the job with my friend. And I know my real good friend died, but I just feel like, I don't know, obviously he didn't, God rest his soul. But, you know, this led me to where I am now. And, yeah, it's weird how things work themselves out, you know.
I feel like things always work out in the end, especially if you're pushing yourself, you know, falling down, getting back up again, having purpose, wanting to help people. There's all of these pure intentions behind what you're trying to do. It's got to get there.
100%.
It's got to get there.
You've got to keep chipping away. Listen, keep climbing up the hill, and I think eventually you'll get there. But, you know, you're not going to stop, are you? Again, if you're on a bus and you've got to go somewhere, you're not going to stop, are you, and get off.
At the wrong stop.
You're going to keep going, ain't you? No matter what, no matter how hard it is. At the end of the day, if you need to be somewhere, you got to get there. So I'll never get off that bus. If I fall over, I'll always get up. Is it easy? No. But we're going to keep going.
And what advice would you give to someone who was going through a hard time themselves?
Mate, listen, just focus on what you can do. And don't make yourself miserable trying to do the impossible. Yeah, pay attention to what you're paying attention to, and ask yourself, how is this emotional belief serving me, and why am I angry with this person? That's a real good one. That's a real good takeaway for an ADHD alone. Yeah, I'm getting real deep now.
And is there anything you want to talk about from the work that you're doing today, or we covered most of it?
I'm the UK's #1. I'm the UK's #1 high-performance ADHD health and fitness coach and deliver fitness solutions specifically designed for individuals with ADHD, which allow them to get into the shape of their life, not only physically but mentally too. And I honestly believe that I've been called to change the culture. The story is powerful, the message is powerful. But again, the story is a wrapping, the relevance is what's inside. And I just feel like I've been called to do this. And I feel those bad experiences allow me to share my insights and change the workplace, because I know that there's probably a lot of people going through this right now.
Nice, mate. Thank you for that. And do you know what? Like, I found your story very interesting today. But just like a lot of the guests, you know, one thing I've found most interesting about people is, you know, whether it's been a burn victim survivor, I've had like people that are like disabled but athletes, been in prison, you know, but they've come out and they've owned their shit, and then they're trying to do something and make a difference. And I can clearly see that's what you're trying to do as well.
Thanks, George.
So keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And again, thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Been a pleasure, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavours, mate.
Same to you, George. Look after yourself.
Thanks, pal.
Thanks so much.